Hi folks! As a psychologist, I often meet people who make wrong decisions. Nothing special about that. We all make mistakes, and it's normal. But one type of mistakes is peculiar, the repeated ones. People sometimes behave as if they were blind to consequences of their actions. They do the same thing over and over again, only because they already invested a lot of effort in what they were doing. It might look from a side as if they were driving a car without brakes and without the reverse gear, but actually they choose to not use them, even in the face of an avoidable crash. This phenomenon is known as psychological entrapment, and this is the topic of our video today.
Have you ever found yourself clinging to a decision, even when it's clearly not working out? Like you'd put so much into it you couldn't walk away? That's the essence of psychological entrapment. Holding yourself captive within your own choice, despite the lack of positive outcomes, like a dog chasing its own tail. It might sound funny, but it isn't.
We're talking about a mental trap. A feeling of being stuck because of all the time, effort, and resources you've already invested. Imagine a gambler at a casino. He's losing badly, but he keeps telling himself he's due for a win. He's in too deep to quit now. He will continue, as long as it takes. That's what entrapment is, being a slave to your own previous choices. It's a powerful force that can affect anyone, from individuals to entire nations. The more we invest in something, the harder it becomes to let go, even when logic tells us we should. Whether it comes to casinos, investments, or wars, we become emotionally attached to our choices, even the bad ones. This isn't about being stubborn, it's about the way our minds work. We're hardwired to avoid losses more than we seek gains. So, we cling to what we've already put in, hoping to turn things around. At the heart of psychological entrapment lies the sunk cost fallacy. This is a cognitive bias, where we overvalue things we've already invested in, regardless of their current worth. A typical example of entrapment is staying in an unfulfilling job because you've already worked there for years, or a college major that no longer interests you. That's the sunk cost fallacy thinking. The rational choice would be to cut further losses and to move over. But our minds struggle with this. We're wired to avoid the sudden feeling of loss, even if it means enduring more pain in the long run. We see examples of psychological entrapment all around us. A woman stays in a loveless marriage for years because she's invested so much time and emotion. Moving on would feel like all the time and effort was wasted. A businessman keeps pouring money into a failing project, hoping to salvage something. He keeps throwing good resources after bad, hoping to justify his initial choice or recoup his losses. These are everyday traps. We've all been there, clinging to a belief that things will get better if we just hold on a little longer. But sometimes, the bravest and smartest thing to do is to walk away. It's not giving up, it's choosing a better path. When you make decisions on your own behalf, the consequences, even very bad, have limited reach. But imagine that you are a politician making decisions on behalf of the whole nation. The consequences of psychological entrapment might be apocalyptic. Countries can get bogged down in wars, just like individuals in bad relationships. They pour in troops, money, and resources, hoping for victory. But as the conflict drags on, the costs mount. The initial goals become blurred. The pressure to justify the sacrifices already made intensifies. This is where the trap snaps shut. Leaders fear appearing weak if they withdraw. They cling to the hope of a turnaround, even when the situation seems hopeless. They are in too deep to quit now. They will continue, as long as it takes. This is how nations become ensnared in unwinnable wars. We've seen many examples like the Vietnam, the Korean and the Afghanistan wars, and the current proxy war between the NATO alliance and Russia. History already knows whole armies being annihilated in unwinnable wars. Cities ruined, economies crippled, countries depopulated. But what if adversaries had a nuclear weapon? The good news is that we can break free from psychological entrapment. The bad news is that it requires courage, the courage to face reality. Entrapment blinds us to the consequences of our actions. The first step to breaking free is to track the actual outcomes. The facts. If the facts require interpretation, remember, you're not alone. It is wise to seek advice from different sources, ensuring a well-rounded perspective. The second rule is to set a limit on invested resources. Never tell yourself that you will continue anything as long as it takes. This is the very definition of psychological entrapment. Set clear budgets or deadlines for the desired outcomes. And first of all, be always honest with yourself. If you're interested in more videos like this one, subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website. Stay in touch.